Hey guys, we're back here with your mental health. I got myself and Nate here going to talk to you a little bit about expand upon our last video, as well as maybe a little bit more on quarantine and the effects it's having on mental health overall. So, Nate, if you want to get us started off.
Yeah, absolutely. What's up, everybody? Mine's Nate Hahn. I'm one of the joining founders of Your Mental Health Awareness here with Vindy and a couple other guys. We're just trying to bring some awareness to everybody and let everybody know what's out there, help everybody cope. We want to talk about, I think one of the biggest issues we tried to point out last time is, it's okay not to be okay. And you don't need to be embarrassed or ashamed or disappointed in yourself for whatever's going on. There's always been that huge stigma out there that, you've got to bottle everything up inside, and, you feel like you're less than if you let somebody know you're going through a rough time, or you don't want to bother somebody. I know for the longest time myself, I kept it inside because I didn't want to burden anybody else, like, oh, look at me, here's my problems. And it just, by reaching out to other people, I mean, the help is out there. And the more that we talk about it and open up and get it out there, the better you feel about yourself, and the more aware you're making people know, we're letting everybody else know that it's okay to go through a rough time. And you don't have to do it by yourself. I myself as a veteran, I'm fortunate enough to have a lot of the VA services available, but also networking and reaching out to other people. It wasn't until I really opened up about, my PTSD, my anxiety, my depression, the ever so often suicidal thought, until I really jumped out there and tried to find some help, things didn't get any better for me. Just in talking about the whole suicide thing, I know that's a big elephant in the room for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I'd like to just briefly talk about that. Excuse me, I get a little choked up sometimes talking about it. I lost another battle buddy this past week to suicide. Veteran suicide is a real thing, and it's very prevalent, and it's something that we need to talk about, and something we need to address, because a lot of these vets feel like, they're all alone. They've got nowhere to turn, and they're afraid to open up and tell somebody how they're feeling. And that's what gets you in trouble. I myself have never tried to commit suicide, but I've had suicidal thoughts. I've been there, I've been to the darkest of the dark. And it's not a good place to be. And trying to battle that by myself just led me to even darker places. So, to all my vets out there, there is help out there, whether it be through the VA, whether it be through a different support group, whether it be to your family or friends. Don't feel like you can't tell somebody how you're feeling, because it's going to keep you in trouble. It's going to keep you in that dark spot. I myself, I've mentioned before, I am currently in a treatment program. I'm actually leaving here tomorrow. And I'm thankful for the help that I've gotten. It's just the first step on my road back to success and my road back to getting back to where I want to be. But by coming here and, putting my trust in others in terms of my mental health and, my substance abuse issues and so forth, has really helped me and allowed me to open up and really discuss these things and talk about it, and help other veterans become aware that it's all right to not be okay. It's okay not to be okay, like we always tell you guys. I myself have become a huge advocate for veterans. I want to continue to do that when I get out of here, and I plan on doing that. If you are a veteran watching this right now, I hope you can reach out to someone if you're having an issue. Feel free to message me, call me, text me. I'll come to your house, whatever I got to do, but know that you're not alone. Because the more you keep it bottled inside, the darker it's going to get. So I really want to stress that to a lot of my veterans out there, and everybody in general. It's not just veterans that have to deal with this. Suicide is a very real thing, and it's still very prevalent in our society today, but it's still, as I mentioned earlier, it's that huge elephant in the room. And I think we need to get rid of that, because the more and more that you open up, the better you feel about it, So it's not going to change overnight, but at the same time, the more you can open up and get around others that are like-minded and that are doing the same thing and fighting the same fight that you're trying to fight, you're going to feel better about yourself.
Yeah, I think
So,
that's
Vinny,
that's awesome.
Vinny, I know you wanted to talk a little bit about some of the stress and some of the issues we're dealing with the whole COVID epidemic.
Yeah, definitely. Kind of to touch on briefly what you were just talking about, we actually had a comment come in on our Facebook page. If anybody's read it, it was from one of our followers asking about how, family members, right, they're also affected by somebody who with mental health, any type of mental health issue whatsoever, and how they can what they can do, steps they can do, or whatever you want to call it, to help somebody from going down a negative path, if you will, right, without enabling them. And I think it's very important that people understand that this is a support group first and foremost, right? There's no judgment here whatsoever. And
Absolutely.
right, so to kind of expand upon my response to that follower, it's everybody's going to react differently. I think that some people, they just need to be heard. They need to know somebody's there supporting them, not necessarily in a hand-holding type of way, but just to know that they have somebody to talk to when needed. This is about people being able to talk about their battles that they're going through and that they are going to fight, honestly, their entire lives, right? We know that. But the biggest thing I would say is that just let them know that you're there. Don't let them, if you see them going down a path that is going to be destructive, whatever you can do, whatever's worked in the past, try those things, whether it's, pulling their mind to a different set of thoughts, right? Or just transitioning in some way, right, to a different activity. But if it's really an emergency, right, we said it before, and we'll continue to say it all the time, is you got to reach out, immediately call 911 or contact a licensed medical professional. Because what we're here doing is, as great as it is, we're not medical professionals, right? I think we all know that. But, that's my best advice is just, it's going to be hard to try not to enable somebody, but we have to do our best at whatever we can. So to that follower that sent that out there, I hope that helps out a little bit more. And like Nate said, we want to talk about, quarantine, COVID-19, this pandemic that we're going through. It's something we haven't experienced before as a society. We have a lot of things going on out there. And I think for myself, I was cooped up in the house for 2 months on quarantine. And I like to be out and be active and going out to hang out with friends, and it was hard. So I don't know how some people are coping. For myself, it was some sort of physical activity, watching, the diets for everybody, I think, during quarantine. And Nate, I know everybody's situation is different, but for you, and for myself specifically, diet and some sort of regimen goes out the window, right? We got to stay somewhat physically active, whether that's taking a walk for 10 minutes or whatever it may be. With quarantine and the effects on anxiety and depression and PTSD and mental health as a whole, what are some things that you yourself, Nate, would recommend that may end up helping somebody cope a little bit better?
That's a great question because, like you said, a lot of us have been cooped up inside for way too long, and that's just it's not natural. It's not healthy. Me, myself, I allowed myself to become a victim of my own circumstance, and I allowed myself to stay cooped up inside, and I got inside my own thoughts, and I didn't reach out, and it led me to a very bad place. It led me to where I'm at now in treatment, getting help for that, but I think one of the biggest things that we can do is just, we need to continue with the interaction of others. Whether it be even through FaceTime or through Zoom or, public chat sites. I mean, you got to stay connected with other people. Right. I know everybody has their own opinions on the mask, the no mask, the social distancing, this, that, the other. There's certain mandates we have to follow in different counties and cities, states, whatever. But you can still get outside. Getting outside and getting out in the fresh air, going to a park, walking along the intercoastal, just getting outside for a little bit each day is going to make you feel better. You're not going to feel so enclosed, so trapped in. You don't have to be in a big group of people. You can go out there with, either by yourself or with one or two other people. Go for a long walk. There's a lot of the gyms that are open back up. A lot of them have the mask mandates. Some of them don't. That's at your own discretion. but there's a lot of places that are doing outdoor classes at parks and gyms, stuff, parking lots, stuff like that you can become a part of. My biggest advice, to get out of yourself is just try to interact with others and try to find something to where you can be, find something you can be a part of. Me, myself, I've been at this treatment facility for the last 45 days. When I get out of here, I've already got my whole month planned out. Like I've got certain fitness groups I'm going to be joining. I've got different veteran groups I'm going to be getting together with once a week. You can do all this stuff and still abide by the mandates and the policies, so to speak. But that would be my biggest advice to anybody watching this is, you don't have to stay inside. If you're worried about your health, wear a mask. I'm not going to get into all that because everybody's got their own opinion, and to each their own, But for me, at least, I've got to stay active. I've got to stay active in the community. I've got to stay active with my veterans. I got to keep communicating with my family, my other friends. That's what keeps me sane. Like locking myself in my house and watching TV, watching the news, or playing video games, or just doing nothing is what led me to where I was at, 2 months ago. But there are a lot of different ways out there. And if you have any questions or you need some places to turn or some places to go, feel free to message us on here, comment below on this, on this podcast. We'll provide you guys some resources and suggestions. Me, myself, I'm working with a big group of veterans right now to get some activities going outside of here, to get some outdoor activities going, even if it be 2 or 3 people. It doesn't have to be a big group of people, but as long as you stay connected, I think you're going to be all right.
Yeah, and I think that's the big thing, right? So you yourself, you're getting out, you said tomorrow, and I think that's great. And God bless you, because as a veteran, you're doing everything you can, and your brothers and sisters in arms are doing what they can to help protect us and our freedoms. And I can be more appreciative coming from a military family. I've got family that's Marine Corps, Army, Navy, Air Force. So for myself, it's big to see our veterans step up to help each other, because I think that it's true, right? You guys are brothers and sisters, and one of the biggest things that you had touched on was getting our veterans together, whether it is 1 or 2 people or it's 10 people. It doesn't matter. Just staying physically active, kind of refocusing the mind, retraining the brain to, it's okay to say, hey, I need help, right? One of the things that I think that has helped a lot of people is knowing that PTSD is a real thing, right? We all know that. But I think the general consensus, and this is just my opinion, is that people believe that, or a lot of us believe that PTSD is really just for those who have had a traumatic experience within war or the military, law enforcement, something of that nature. When the actuality is PTSD can arise from any traumatic situation, right? At any age. So working with the veterans, I think, is one of our biggest accomplishments that you yourself are going to have, because without the veterans, we aren't here today. We're not able to do what we do. So thank you for everything you and your brothers and sisters have done for us. That being said, one of the things that I think that for myself that I always like to listen to is different perspectives of veterans, and even active and reserve military members, of what they're doing to help, because you served, and I'm sure it wasn't an easy time when you were deployed. What were some things that not just yourself but your brothers and sisters did to kind of keep sane and not go crazy while you were overseas or during basic?
And like I mentioned before, staying connected is the biggest key to it all. I mean, whether you're deployed, whether you're overseas, whether you're at home, regardless if you're a veteran or not, staying connected and interacting with others is the most important thing in my mind. Obviously it's a whole different stigma and a whole different circumstance for a lot of veterans. However, as you just mentioned, PTSD doesn't stop with veterans. It's not just a veteran thing. It's not just people who have been to war. I mean, I know a ton of civilians that have PTSD from car accidents, from childhood trauma, from just any severe trauma in your life can constitute as PTSD. As you mentioned before, we're not medical professionals. I'm not going to get into the whole psychology of it. It's just not my place. But don't feel like you have to be in the military or a veteran to deal with PTSD. I mean, we see it in all aspects of life.
Right.
And from PTSD is where a lot of your anxiety and depression, all of that stems from. You know, and there's a lot of others out there that deal with that have general anxiety disorders or severe depression, and it could be from a number of things. You know, we all are going through a different battle at one point or another in our life, and the biggest thing that I can say is that you have to reach out to somebody. You know, you don't have to feel alone. Don't feel like you're burdening somebody. Don't feel like you're bothering somebody with your problems, because 99% of the time that person's going to stop everything they're doing and try to help you.
Yeah.
I've seen so many veterans, especially, but civilians as well, succumb to suicide because they couldn't reach out. They didn't want to bother somebody with their issues. And that's just not the case. You know, and for those of you that are watching, if you know somebody that's going through a tough time, reach out to them, or somebody confides in you, try and help, you know, try to do the best you can and help them. But if it's out of your realm, reach out to somebody that can help them. You know, if somebody comes to me tomorrow and say, hey, you know, don't tell anybody, but I'm thinking about committing suicide, I just can't live my life anymore, reach out and help, you know, reach out and tell somebody. You know, that's the biggest fear that a lot of people have is, you know, a lot of people have those thoughts and they just don't want to be a burden to anybody, when in all reality, it's those other people that are going to save your lives.
Yeah. You know, and that's a good point. You know, we think that, you know, when people are suicidal or they talk about it, it's, you know, life for them, they think that life isn't worth living, you know, everything would be better without them here, or whatever, right? You know, whatever logic or reasoning they come up with in their mind. And I think, right, not a psychologist, not a psychiatrist by any means, but I think that part of it is that that's what they're battling with some demon inside, and they don't know how to deal with it anymore. They just want it to stop. You know, the biggest thing that I heard from a lot of people, you know, I follow a lot of different influencers throughout social media that are mental health advocates, and that's really what got me into doing this. Between this and, you know, our quarantine for 2 months was, you know, you are worth it. You are meant to be here. The world is a little bit better with you in it, and don't ever forget that. Don't ever think otherwise. You know, I think that we as a society need to embrace, you know, the fact that mental health is a real thing, and that the stigma, as long as people are believing that there's a stigma, or allow there to be a stigma, I should say, and tell people just push it down, don't talk about it, you know, it's never going to get better. I've said it multiple times, and across all my platforms that I'm, you know, between our Instagram page, our Facebook page here, we started a YouTube channel, obviously. Even on my LinkedIn, it's one of those things. It's okay to reach out, and it's we have to get rid of the stigma. We have to let people know that there are resources, and that they shouldn't feel that they need to succumb to suicide or something, right, for those demons to go away or to stop feeling a certain way, that there are resources. So, you know, other than that, I mean, I think that just kind of to really kind of sum it up for myself is, you know, like you said multiple times, Nate, right? Reach out to us. You know, we've got the email address set up for a reason. It's yourmentalhealthawareness@gmail.com. It's long, I know, it's all spelled out. But reach out to us, reach out to Nate or myself. You know, I know, Nate, you and I have talked, you know, fairly extensively, right, I guess, on different topics of mental health and different things people can do to kind of, you know, keep their sanity, and staying connected is definitely one of them. So one of the questions I have for you, if you don't mind, you're a veteran. Do you still, how often do you keep in touch? I'm sure you do, but are you in constant contact with, you know, the veterans and other people that are still maybe active military that you served with?
I'm not as active as I should be. And that's, you know, that's my own fault. That's nobody else's fault. And that's, you know, I got myself into that place where, you know, I've got friends that are still active duty, or I've got veterans that are making, you know, have huge success and are doing big things. And I just felt less than, and I felt like I didn't want to burden anybody with my issues. And that's not the case whatsoever. I mean, over the last 2 months, the friends that I've reached out to that I served with, you know, they're compassionate, they're understanding, you know, they get it. And all they want to do is help, you know, but it's a matter of reaching out to these guys. You know, and I'm trying to recreate that atmosphere within my own personal veteran contact connection.
Okay.
You know, because a lot of the guys that I served with are going to be brothers for life. I mean, they're guys that I consider family.
Right.
You know, and seeing guys struggling and battling through things that I know what they're going through, but they don't want to reach out. You try to reach out to them, they don't want the help. It just breaks my heart. You know, so as I mentioned earlier, I'm a huge advocate for veterans, and especially when it comes to mental health, and helping veterans get past that next step. You know, that's something that I'm going to continue to build upon.
Mm-hmm.
It's something I'm getting very involved with here in Palm Beach County. If you're a local veteran, feel free to contact me if you have ideas, you have resources. I'm trying to help. I'm trying to help build this domiciliary program here at the West Palm Beach VA. I'm just trying to recreate a positive atmosphere that we can go to, and we can talk to one another. You know, because it's a lot easier for us to get together and talk about it than it is to say, you know, to sit down with somebody who's never been through it. Not saying that can't happen and that doesn't work, but it's a lot easier for us. And the more that we interconnect ourselves with each other, the more successful we're going to be.
Mm-hmm.
You know, kind of closing everything out, I think the most important point I want to make is you've got to find hope. You've got to have a little bit of hope. Regardless if you've hit rock bottom or you're just starting to get there, there's always a way out. There's always another side. You know, reach out to somebody. You don't have to tackle it all in one day. It's a process. You know, I myself have been battling with this nonstop for the last 5 years. And, you know, I've been homeless. I've lost a car. I've lost a job. I've lost a girl. I've lost everything. I've almost lost my family, you know, and that was all by me staying to myself and doing my own thing and not reaching out for help.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just amazed at, by opening my mouth and interacting with other veterans and telling people, hey, I can't do this shit anymore. I need help, is what's getting me to where I want to be eventually.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it doesn't matter what stage of life you're in. You can always start fresh. You can always start a new chapter. You can get all that stuff back if that's what you want. You know, material things don't mean a damn thing to me anymore. I used to base my life around that, and it's not what's important. You know, what's most important to me now is being at peace with myself. You know, I don't want to have to turn to drugs or alcohol or to other bad behaviors to get rid of those thoughts and to subside all that nonsense. You know, by reaching out and working with other veterans, you know, one of the biggest things that you'll ever hear is that getting outside of yourself and working with others is what's going to help you. And that couldn't be more true. I mean, just being here alone in a program full of veterans, I've been able to help so many veterans just in this program alone. I'm just beyond words. You know, I don't want to thank you. I don't want a pat on the back. It's just seeing the gratitude and seeing the smile on their faces when things are starting to happen for them. Just being a part of that is special to me. And that's something that I really hope to build on. But like you said, Vinny, if you guys have questions, you have comments, please reach out to us. If you're not comfortable posting it to our page, message me privately, message Vinny privately. If you have questions, you need resources, you need answers, I will do everything I can in my power to make that happen. So please don't be afraid to open your mouth and reach out a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, you know, that's kind of a great wrap up for us. And, you know, one of the things that I'm interested in as we move forward and we start getting these, you know, our podcast going further, you know, kind of, you know, first, if you guys haven't hit that Instagram page, it's YMHA.1, if I remember correctly. And then our YouTube channel is Your Mental Health Awareness. You know, go ahead and hit that like button on there, subscribe. We're going to post all of our videos over there, and then our content creators and contributors are also going to be posting all over those pages as well and channels. But, you know, one of the things that I'm interested to see the most of is you get out tomorrow and you start working with veterans and these groups and everything else you're going to be doing to stay active. Looks like your month of August into September is going to be really busy, which is awesome. You know, I'm proud of you. I'm happy for you. I'd love to get some, and I don't know, obviously this is your realm and your area of expertise, if you will. You know, get some veterans, like let's do some discussion panels and hear what they have to say and what's helped them. Because I think what's helped you may be different for somebody else, right? You know, there's not a cookie cutter response or anything, but you know, if that's something that obviously anybody else is interested in, we'd love to have you guys on. I'd love to have more veterans on here talking about their experiences. you know, 'cause we found that sometimes, you know, just talking about it helps, and they have an outlet to share what's helped them get through, and why they're what's helped them kind of just really just wake up every day and say, look, it's a great day, I'm alive, and I want to keep going. So, you know, if Nate, if that's something you're interested in coordinating, and you know they're willing, you know, by all means, I'd love to get them on.
Yeah, no, that's something that I'm already working on. As you mentioned, you'd love to have some panel discussions and have some different viewpoints. I'm already in talks with a couple different veterans making that happen.
Awesome.
Hopefully in the next week or two, we can get together and we can start something new. You know, I want to talk to a couple different veterans. I mean, the average age here where I'm at is between 40 and 50, but
Okay.
I've got guys that are 21, 22 years old here. I've got guys that are pushing 70, you know, so it's a one-stop shop that caters to everybody and everything, you know, and that's what I hope that we can achieve too. You know, I don't want somebody to feel singled out because they're in a certain category or a certain age bracket or a certain race. Like, that's not the case whatsoever.
Yeah.
But I am working on some different support groups with veterans. We're going to be getting together weekly, and in the near future, we can definitely get them on here, and we can discuss some other topics. You know, if people have suggestions or comments, something they want to hear about, I'm wide open.
Yeah, I think we both are. You know, drop those comments. Let us know what you want to hear about. Email us. Get in touch with us via Facebook, however you want, however you're comfortable. You know, just let us know. You know, this is a support group. It's an open forum. We want to hear about everybody's success stories, and you know, even what they're battling. You know, how can we help? What are some techniques that work for you when you're going through something, or you know, maybe you'll hear something that you want to try. You know, so you know, with all that said, you know, we want to thank everybody for tuning in, watching this today. It'll be up on our YouTube channel shortly, and we'll get it posted to the page here. You know, share it with your friends and family, anybody who you think might even just want to watch or learn more about how they can support people. It's kind of what we're looking for. So, you know, thanks again for everybody for watching and tuning in. And, you know, we look forward to more of these.
Yeah, absolutely. Have a great day, guys.
Take care, buddy.